Nice. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Really liking this Google Hangout thing. As long as I don't look to the left and realize there's a 20-second delay. While you guys are listening in, please type any question, any communication, any conversation you want. I think there's a way eventually that I can figure out how we can see all your faces and that we can have a conversation ongoing. But in the meantime, we're going to do it this way. Got some special page going. Anyway, we want to talk about how your inner voice is keeping you from the success you want, whether it be your body, your finances, or simply the best life ever. I know this for a fact because being raised in a family of criticisms and negativity and judgments on every aspect of our life, I have fallen into a lifestyle that had me very ill, had me very uncomfortable, and definitely hurt my body in so many ways. I worked very hard and did a lot of research and soul searching and work on myself to understand that the thing that was causing me from my absolute best life ever was that negative voice in my head. That little guy, actually he wasn't a little guy, he was a very big, burly girl, sitting on my shoulder telling me that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't fast enough, I wasn't sexy enough, I wasn't interesting enough, I wasn't funny enough, I just wasn't enough, period. Not everybody has that dramatic kind of information coming at us, but we certainly have a form of person like that judge that sits there and tells us. And who are we to judge, really? Who are we to judge, and who are we to judge others? Who are we to judge ourselves? But in everybody there is a judge. It is that voice. Then, of course, there's the inner voice of reason and beauty and love, and tells you all the things that you are great in the world. It tells you that you can have it all. It tells you that you are capable and that you're going to have success and that life is going to unfold just the way you want it, and that everywhere you are, wherever you are right now is exactly what you planned to be. And we get real clarity when we hear that voice, right? Everything seems possible. Everything falls into place. I'll give you an example. I have a good friend who is very stressed right now. And his voice is telling him that he doesn't have his finances. He doesn't have enough time. He's not a good enough father. He's not a good enough friend. He's not a good enough lover. He's not a good enough, all these things, which perpetuates this negative spiral. And what's happening is that the finances aren't coming in. His children are angry. His friends are angry. Everybody seems to be coming at him. So we talked. What if you let all that go? What if you allow the voice over here to speak up? Kind of like, whack, get off my shoulder, you don't belong here. And this one over here starts to speak up. Let the flow happen. Bam, like that. Instant beauty. Finances start to flow. Everybody's happy with them. Positive feedback, reinforcements. It's so instant that you wonder why you didn't do it before. Now, how does this pertain to the body we've always wanted? It all works the same, doesn't it? Imagine that your mind is like a superliner train going down the tracks, 9,000 miles an hour, right? Thinking, perpetuating all the talk that goes on in our heads, and behind you is this little wobbly caboose, okay? It's kind of in the back. I picture it like the little engine that could. You've got this sleek freight train, streamliner train, and then you've got this little rickety caboose. Your mind is the train. Your body is the caboose. It's connected, okay? The caboose just follows where your mind goes. And if your mind's going faster than the speed of light and this little guy's trying to catch up, he's going to be rickety. He's not going to be able to catch up. He's going to be confused. Which way are we going? We're turning left, we're turning right. I'm trying to keep myself on the track, right? If you realize that the two are connected and that your streamliner is connected to your caboose, then you're aware that the caboose is back there. Then you start making turns, velocity changes, and all that to aid the caboose's caboose, so to speak. I don't know where I come up with that stuff. But do you see what I'm saying? So if you imagine that your mind is going fast and you're thinking in such rapid ways, if you're positive and you're cognizant that all your thoughts are reflecting what the caboose is doing, then you're going to make different decisions. You're going to speak differently to yourself. You're certainly going to be more aware of the turns and twists and velocities that you make. You see? Okay. So you have the voice over here. What does this voice tell you? Looks in the mirror and says, oh, God, you look bloated today. Bam! You're bloated. That's it. It's pretty simple. You're pretty much going to be bloated the entire day. You might as well just kiss it goodbye. Now, what happens if you look in the mirror? Now you're aware. Shoot, I'm afraid. I'm a streamlined train. I just said I'm bloated. The caboose is now bloated. It's weighing me down. It's making me think about it the whole time. It's falling behind. I'm trying to keep going, but the thing is rickety. It's not working. Okay? Awareness. Stop. Think. Look in the mirror and say something different. Say, you, get off my shoulder. You, speak up. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're perfect just the way you are. Watch how your body shifts and changes. Watch your body. Watch your caboose fall in line. All right, guys, I can see a whole bunch of hellos, highs, hi, 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 hi. How about talk to me? And if you see me looking to the left, you'll know that I'm looking to read what you're saying. Is your streamliner and your caboose in line with each other? That's my question to you. Tell me. Because some of us are in line. Some of us don't even think about it. Sometimes that inner voice has nothing to do with how we live because we're focused on something else. We're focused on another negative aspect of our life. Because we do, right? We always focus on the negative. We always put a lot of effort into what's not working. And very seldom look at what is working. So what if we wrote down everything that is working in our life? What if we were able to really put a frame on? You know that poster that's sitting in your garage? It's like this great poster, you know it's there. It's like, oh, people come over and go, oh, I got a poster of that. It's really cool. I got to frame that someday. What happens when you frame something? As soon as you frame it and you put it on the wall, it becomes right there in front of your face. It's a masterpiece for you to witness, to see, to enjoy, right? So let's frame the positive aspects of our life. Let's write a list of everything that is actually working for us. What's working for me? Well, I'm almost 50 years old. I feel 20-ish at times. I may or may not have all the things that I've dreamed of, but I'm going in the right direction. And I feel good in my body most times, right? Hi, Diana. We are Jab, Carla, and Giselle. Hi. I feel my finances are good. I feel my home is safe. My children are happy. My family is good. Don't focus on the negative. I have energy. I have a wonderful clientele. I have great followers who are interested in what I have to say most of the time. And blah, blah, blah. You know, I want to put a frame on that. Now, when you frame something like that, and it's that big and that's that beautiful, there's really no space to put the negative. Now, if we put a frame on the negative aspects of our life and we put that side by side, then we're comparing. Then we make excuses. You know what I'm saying? We make excuses. Yes, I'm 50 and I have I'm comfortable in my body, but last night I ate this and I feel like crap, and so I'm bloated, and so I'm going to feel this way, and blah, 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 blah. I'm not telling you I don't do that, because I do that. And that keeps me from my happiness most of the time. But it's the awareness, it's stopping yourself and then looking in the mirror and bam, turn that right back around. Diana, I try to keep positive thinking. However, I have days that I can be positive because I don't feel great. Exactly what I just said. That's exactly what I just said. You're absolutely right. We don't feel good. So how do we make ourselves feel good? I'll tell you a little technique I have in my body and my positive thinking. It's kind of a technique I've used for a long time because I tend to be a lymphomaniac. I say a lymphomaniac because I'm so sensitive that anything that I eat or drink or whatever affects my lymph immediately. I wake up and my face is bloated, my arms are bloated, I'm just very uncomfortable. So I try to put on my pants. I'm like, these fit me yesterday and they don't fit me today, and I'm upset. Silly, right? Silly that a pair of pants can ruin your day, but they do. So I don't even bother putting them on. I'm not saying I run around naked, although maybe. But I put on very loose, comfortable, flowy, soft things that are a sure thing that make me not think about my discomfort and focus on the positive things. Does that make sense? So, all right, you wake up Monday morning, you had a big weekend, you feel like you've overindulged, you maybe had a couple too many glasses of wine, which blow up the lymph right away. You didn't drink enough water, which means you haven't gone to the bathroom enough, which means you're holding and you're thinking, ugh, I have to start my week with low energy. What do? You put on an elastic pair of pants, you put on a loose t-shirt, you make sure you look as pretty and put together as you can, and you say, I am green juicing today. I am drinking lots and lots of water. I am not going to think about my body. Because if you wake up with the mindset, oh my God, I'm so bloated, you're going to do the opposite of fixing it. You're going to perpetuate it. You're actually going to add to the weight. I'll give you a story about a good friend of mine who has a beautiful body, absolutely perfect, and she gained 8 pounds, which most people can't see 8 pounds. I know we feel 8 pounds, but you can't see it. She was still beautiful, but she was uncomfortable. Starved herself. I mean, really just dieted and dieted, but she kept telling herself, I'm so fat. Oh my God, I'm eating everything and I can't lose weight. I'm just like, I haven't eaten anything all day. I haven't eaten anything for a week. I feel like I'm starving and I haven't dropped 1 pound. Did you hear what she just said? She literally told herself. She created her scenario. She created the outcome. She said, I'm eating nothing and I'm not losing weight. Judge. That's your voice. Just told you what's going to happen. Where your mind goes, your body follows. Streamliner, caboose. Now, if she told herself, don't weigh yourself, first of all. I'm losing weight. I feel great. My body's flowing. Oh, yeah, I was feeling heavy, but I'm just drinking some, look at me. I just live on, like, water. Drink this all day long. Flush the system. It's usually just lymphatic buildup. And then start fresh the next day. You'll have a new attitude. You'll have a better outlook on life. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? All right. Now, answer me, if you will. Type it in below. Do you feel like your train pieces are connected? Do you feel like your streamliner is indicative? Do you feel like your caboose is following your streamliner? Yo. Everybody says hi. Nice. Everybody says hi. What do you have to add? We all have that positive. Okay, we're talking about positive and negative inner voice. All right? All right. So what are some of the things that we can do? And these are components, and this is about manifesting your best life ever. You know what I'm saying? This is about making decisions that will change the outcome of your life, your happiness, your desires. All right, Jab. Every day since we moved to San Diego, we feel like we are catching up we, with all the things, those things, body, mind, soul, we are pretty sure this is due to 100% for eating healthier and thoughtful training. However, we feel we are close to getting the last link of the chain, the financial resource that help us implement all the good ideas that we have. Where is our negative? It's not negative thinking, Jad. What is that? Is energy. It's trust. That is a very tough thing, because finances are something that we have to live off of. It's an energy source, right? Food is an energy source. Money is an energy source. And if we can't afford something in today's world, how do we live, right? You have a daughter, you have a wife, you have a life, you have a home, and in order to pay those bills, you cannot deplete your resources. So there is a fear-based model when it comes to finances. You've heard the story before, you know, trust that the world will provide, the universe will provide for you. And you're like, that's great, but how am I going to pay my bills? And so as soon as we get that shadow of doubt, it changes. It changes the flow. So what I was telling earlier about my friend who financially was stressed, right? Worried, tapped out, completely wondering, where are we going to get the next dollar? How am I going to get paid? How am I going to pay my employees? How am I going to continue? And that shadow of doubt stopped him from having business come in. And it's a cycle of fear and doubt that occurs. So it's such a hard thing to bite into, because it is fear-based, and we all have it. But what if you just lived with the idea that you had all the means that you imagine for just a short time, because it happens so quickly. So I presented this to my friend, and the next day, I'm just gonna $350,000 deal came in, and it was like, oh, wow, it really works. It really, really works. Now, remember that you have to do work. It's not that you can just sit back and manifest and just go, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to think about it. It's about surrendering the fear. It's about letting go. So I'm going to tell you this story that happened. It was years ago. I was married, and I wanted to remodel our house. My children were, I don't know, 10, 11, 10, around there, 11 and 8, something like that. 2 11-year-olds and 8-year-old. And I remember saying to my husband then that I think it's time we remodel our house, because if we do it any later, the children are going to be grown, and what's the point? I mean, it's about having the right house, the comfort of our home, and blah, blah, blah. And he says, I really don't think that we have the finances for that right now. And I'm like, I just felt that this was the time. I was the great manifester of our family. He was a great provider, but I was a great manifester. So I went to this Thai masseuse, and I'm sitting there, and she's rubbing my toes, and she's saying, and she pulls on my big toe, and she says, you worry. You make big purchase. Of course, she says it with a Thai accent. You make big purchase. She says, you buy car, you buy a house. And I said, no, thinking about remodeling the house. I said, but, you know, the husband is a little worried. And she says, you dig hole, more money come. You dig hole, and more money will come. So, of course, I came home, and I presented this to my husband, and I said, you know, what she said was, you dig the hole, and more money will come. Don't worry about it. And he was just, he was not happy about that, but I did it anyway. I ended up spending a lot of money, lots and lots and lots of money on the remodel. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger, as you can imagine, as every remodel does. And I remember when we got to the end of the project, he said to me, he goes, are we all paid for? Did everything get paid? I mean, it was like a 4 or 5 month project. He says, is everything paid for? And I said, yeah, no, we're totally caught up. Everything's done. And he goes, it's so weird. He goes, it's like nothing changed in our bank account. Where did the money come from? Where did it disappear? Did other monies come in that we weren't expecting? Did, you know, some investment pay? I don't even know. We couldn't keep track. It was the weirdest thing. Flash forward, my neighbor, having the same kind of attitude, she goes, I just want to enjoy my home, all my kids are home, I want to create the space that's comfortable so we can, you know, live a nice, comfortable life. And I told her that story, and she ended up doing the exact same thing. And she said, it's so weird. She goes, if you don't stress about money, the money will flow. Because stress is a negative emotion. Stress is a negative voice. Stress is, I can't, I won't, I don't know if I can. The shadow of doubt that stops us from everything. It's beautiful to have a shadow of doubt, because without a shadow of doubt, you can't face it. You can't look it straight in the eye and negate it. Without the shadow of doubt, without this voice questioning you, without the shadow of doubt telling you that you can't, then the strength of this voice isn't able to call it out. Diana, you are you're not going to make it in this world. You're not going to make it in your business. You're not going to make it in. And it's like, baloney, baloney. And I'm going to show you how. I am absolutely going to make it. Shadow of doubt, voice of reason. Right? We all have it. Negative inner voice, positive inner voice. I don't look that great. I feel heavy. I'm never going to lose weight. I've got thyroid issues. I've got intestinal issues. I got yada, yada, yada. This, you're beautiful. You're amazing. You're perfect just the way you are. You don't have any disease. You're just manifesting stuff. Shush. I don't know. Kind of works. Most of the time it does. All right, guys. What else? What about your best life ever? What about manifesting everything you've ever desired? Okay, I know I'm going to read this out loud. Danielle. I know I had more energy when my daughter and I did raw plant-based eating, of course, a few years ago, but now it seems like my energy is drained. I did relocate to LA and recreating my business to get new clients. I generally don't overeat and make nut milk, smoothies, and juices. Maybe I'm not getting enough water. I need to drink more. I feel I need more energy to get out there and work more. I do like to be busy, but I feel like I'm in a slow motion. Maybe what you just said covered it. Laugh out loud. Seriously, though. Yes. Well, we all get in slumps. I mean, I think about myself, you know, going back 4 years, 5 years. I mean, I was the healthiest ever. I was doing somersaults on the beach. I was doing handstands on yoga balls. I was lean, mean, fabulous. Life took over. My business became stressful. I got a divorce, which I cannot tell you how stressful that was. I relocated from the Bay Area to San Diego. It's been an ebb and flow of health. My hormones, the hormones were affected by the stress. You check your hormones, Danielle. It's you know, especially if you don't have a lot of energy. It's usually low testosterone, which happens to us women, believe it or not. We actually have a lot of testosterone. And then I started to realize, then I started eating meat. I had to start eating meat. People were telling me to eat lean protein, so I started testing my body with cortisol. A raw plant-based diet is great. Vegan is great, but I believe that I personally, for me, I believe that we need to have balance and not get so caught up in what worked at that time. Because even though it worked and I healed my body of myriad health issues by eating raw food, it was also the right time. It wasn't just about the raw food. It was about the surrender and the trust that I created around the raw food. It became a lifestyle that I worked on and loved and adored. And so the more I loved and adored it, the more I felt great. The more I loved and adored it, the more I felt great. It also opened up my life to teach, to heal, to work on what I love to do. So that perpetuated positivity, that perpetuated beauty, that perpetuated a happy life. Okay? Then you are still eating raw. I'm still eating vegan. And then I go through the stress of moving, divorce, and etc. My body reacted differently. I put on like 11, 12 pounds. I got real fluffy. My face was looking sallow. I got thick around the waist. When I got my hormones checked, I was out of whack. So my diet was a very big portion of the control of my energy and my happiness and all that. But really, my lifestyle it's bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. It had to do with the stresses, my thought processes. It had to do with the environment in which I live. This is a totally different place. It's always hot here, where it's always chillier in the Bay Area, and the heat and the humidity and the allergies are different. And my lifestyle, my home space was different. It wasn't as expansive. I mean, there's just so many elements about our health, and we like to pinpoint it. And our health and our weight, actually, let's just call it the weight. There's so many elements about our weight as well that we pin on food. And food is a huge part, but we have to, when it's not working, instead of getting stressed and saying we're losing control and giving up, we have to look at the greater picture. Diana. Hi, Diana. I started to do some fully raw recipes. Every morning I have a green smoothie, and I try to eat less meat. Since I've noticed that, I think more positive and feel better. However, I feel unmotivated when I don't see changes in my body. Exactly what we were just talking about. So you're feeling great. You have more energy. You're feeling better. You're all that stuff, and yet we're still stuck on looking at ourselves in the mirror. Now, I ask you to ask. Don't ask you to ask. I ask you to listen to what other people are saying about you. Okay? This is really important. This is one of the things I do on the Naked Challenge. We go deeper into the question asking, and I want to know, are you being aware of what's happening around you, right? Because it is the law of attraction. Sometimes we look in the mirror and we don't feel different. We don't feel like we've made any headway, or we don't feel positive about what's occurring on us, around us, inside of us. And but we go down to the supermarket, or we walk into the bank, or we go to work, and people go, wow, you look really good. And you're like, oh, I do? God, it feels so gross. I'm just really, because, my pants were tight this morning, and, right? Judge. Right on cue, man. As soon as somebody compliments us, the judge sets in. Right? Thanks, we'll go ahead. Go, Jab, do it. I love it. Go, Jab, do it. You can do it, Jab. Dig hole, more money come. But Diana, that's so normal. That's so typical. So pay attention to what other people are saying. You're eating better. You feel great. You have better energy. I'll bet you people are saying, what are you doing differently? You look younger. Your eyes are a little clearer. Have you lost weight? And your answer is, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I feel fabulous. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What does the scale say? What do our body? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The less it matters, the more it flows. Joanne. Diana, it's been about 18 months since my first Naked Challenge. I love you, Joanne. I miss you so much. As you know, eating raw changed my life for the better. I have maintained my weight loss, which I believe is about 60 pounds, maybe more, but haven't really lost much more. Okay, I've kept all those habits, juicing every morning, no meat, exercise. I still battle the exhaustion, which could be due to my condition, of course. I always ask myself if there's anything more I can do, or should I let it all go and just be? You just answered your own question. You should just be. You've lost tons of weight. You have been battling a disease for most of your life. You feel great. You're going to have moments of not being perfect. You're going to have moments when you don't feel like getting out of bed. We all do, no matter how healthy. And if someone's telling you otherwise, I would be a little skeptical. I have days that I just really want to just lay in bed, read a book, maybe watch a little bit of True Blood, my my show of choice right now. And not judge it, because we tend to go so fast, so quickly. We move so quickly, and I recently had to be in bed for a couple weeks, and it was sort of self-inflicted, and it was really tough on me sitting still that long. really tough on me to not go at the pace I'm used to going. And it gave me a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time to heal some emotional wounds, and to kind of love myself for just being frumpy and, tired. Just being tired. And I feel good now. I'm still kind of coming out of that slump. It was just a couple weeks ago. I feel good now, but I think I learned a lot. I learned a lot more about who I am and how I feel about myself, which is generally positive. But if you keep going, if you're always moving, then you don't ever have to stop and look at yourself, right? So, Joanne, and I know you're a lot like me that way. So when you're exhausted, what about just being exhausted? What about just saying, I'm exhausted? I see people do it all the time. I have friends who are like, I'm tired, I'm going to go home and go to bed. I'm like, I haven't done that in 25 years. Who goes home and goes to bed? Who takes a nap unless you're on vacation? I mean, I would love to take a nap. And I have, actually, in the last couple weeks, and it felt good. Really felt good. Diana Jab says, Diana, we made a huge change in our lives to get rid of the stress. It wasn't easy at all, but we are enjoying the reward. Jab's such a lovely man, and his family are so incredible. And I think it's really a daring thing to move a family from Mexico. I believe you came from Mexico, Jab, and moving to La Jolla, San Diego, and start anew. There's going to be stresses along the way, for sure. But you made the right choice, so keep going in that direction. It also takes a while, Jab, when you move to make community and to get support from people you really trust and care about. I'm still working on that myself, especially since I travel so much, and I know what you mean. Lane, since I've been engaged in your talks, I've really started eating better. Good, thank you. I love that I actually say something and it gets you excited. Totally raw tonight. Yay! I found myself cleaning out the clutter in my house and in my life. Isn't that amazing how what we put in our body affects how we live? It's true. They say cluttered house, cluttered mind, cluttered car, cluttered mind, cluttered body, cluttered mind. Again, mind-body connection. But that negative voice does sometimes speak lots louder than the positive, uplifting voice. I know. It's like you know those mean girls. I don't think boys have this, but you know those mean girls, and you go to the party and you walk in and just say you're a 12-year-old right now. 12-year-old little girl, and you walk into a party, and you've got all these good friends, and they're like, oh my God, hi, you're so cute, oh my God, I love you, you're so awesome, I'm so glad you're here. And then there's these big bullies standing in the corner going, oh my God, who do you think you are? You think you're better than me? You're not that cute, you're not that smart, you're kind of fat, blah, 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 blah. Stop inviting them to the party. They're not invited. We don't want to have them at the party. They don't belong there. Those are the friends, though, and you've seen this in your life, I know you have. Those are the friends that we nurture the most because we want them to like us, right? Those are the ones that we go out of our way to make sure that they like us. Maybe if I dress differently, they'll like me. Maybe if I change the way I talk, they'll like me, right? But the ones over here already like you. And they like you just the way you are, and you don't have to change anything about yourself. And when you're with them, you feel pretty. And when you're with them, you feel smart. And when you're with them, you feel like everything's going to be okay. But we don't want to hang out with them. Why? We want to hang out with the big bullies over there who make us feel small, so we can prove to them that we're not. There you go. There's your negative and your positive. I say knock them off the shoulder. I hear you, Jab. Diana, I love this. I'm doing this because this is the Google Hangout goes on YouTube. So when I'm talking, the people on YouTube don't see the script, so I want to make sure they know what's going on. Diana wrote, I hear you, Jeb. I have a very stressful job, mental health, a commute for 4 hours every day. Holy moly, Diana. I try to make small changes in my life, but when I'm out of energy, I feel like not trying hard at all. Oh, I love that you said that. Stop trying so hard. That's kind of the, okay. So, and Joanne, you know this from doing so many naked challenges. Love Joanne because she's so outward about her feelings and thoughts. And one of the things that she struggled with on the challenges was relinquishing control. And every call, it was about control. And I kept saying, it's an illusion. Control is an illusion. How do we get rid of control? That's I'll let you know when I get there. But it's an ongoing process, actually, because we feel that if we have control, then we're able to get to our goal. But in fact, the truth is, when we relinquish control, control is sort of a fear-based emotion, a fear-based thought process that we have somehow the ability to create the outcome by holding on tight. Okay? So instead of holding on tight, what if we surrender? What if we open up, loosen up, and allow flow? It's a different way of thinking, and it's hard for a lot of us to imagine that. But it's really about, okay, let's see if I can give you an example. It's a very personal example. But going back to a divorce, I'm trying to keep my family together. And I don't know what that means, but I keep trying to keep traditions straight, keep the family strong, make sure that I'm here for my children on so many levels. I still have 2 of them living in my house. I make them dinner. I'm trying to keep the ball rolling the way it was before. But it can't roll the way it was before because it's not like it was the way it was before. And I'm holding on really tight to that unit. But there's no unit. The unit has dispersed. And so I'm thinking about the holidays, and the more I think about it, the more stressed I become about this thought of holding on to everything being a certain way. This is control, you see. I want it to be a certain way, the way it's been for 25 years, and now it's not. And I don't know why, I just had this epiphany the other day when I was working with someone to surrender, and I thought, do what you teach, Diana. And I got frustrated in the car. I relinquished control, but I did it in a very kind of way. I controlled the lack of control, and I surrendered. I said, I'm done. I'm just going to let all the cards fall where they may, and I'm going to worry about me. I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to do what I want to do, and if those people wish to follow, that's great. Now, it's not like anything I've ever done. I've always nurtured them, their needs, controlled the situation, made it happen, made it look a certain way, made it feel a certain way. And what I'm doing now is I'm saying, I'm going to take care of me and let the chips fall where they may. And I was heading home, and I'm like, I kind of had this attitude. I'm like, my kids are old enough. I don't need to do this. I'm just going to let it go. And my kids are texting me as I was heading home. They're like, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? What's for dinner? And I said, you know what? Why don't you start chopping tomatoes? And I told my son to start chopping garlic. And they did. And I got home, and half of the dinner was made. And the weirdest thing happened. They took control. And they started creating the perfect scenario. They set the table. We sat down to dinner at the table. They served. And we were talking like we used to, the old way. And I thought, what just happened? Is it because I relinquished control, they took control, or they created it the way they wanted it to be? They ended up doing dishes. Never happens. And I remember the phone rang, and I was going to pick it up, and my daughter looks at me, and she goes, you're not going to answer that, are you? We're having family dinner. And I thought, wow, thank you, universe, for reminding me. Once you let go of control, everything flows and falls into place. Not everyone pays attention to those miracles and those moments, I happen to be, hyper-focused on miracles. So I saw that as a miracle. And I figured that if I do let go, then whatever happens is exactly what's supposed to. And that's not always an easy thing to it's not always an easy thing to trust. Well, how does that work when it comes to your body? Again, that Monday morning image. You get up, everything's a little tight and uncomfortable, and you're thinking, I gotta control this. I'm not gonna starve myself today. I'm just gonna put on these. Just don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Just make sure that you're prepared. Just like I said, drink a lot of water. It's usually just fluff. It's just fluff that's stuck on your body. It's toxins that accumulated over the last few days. And all you need is one day or even half a day of lots of fluffing and lots of eliminating, lots of defluffing and eliminating. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know, people who do the Naked Challenge, they literally lose 3 pounds the first day. Most people, in fact, I've had a couple people lose 6 or 7 pounds the first day. And you're thinking, that's not normal. No, it's not. It's a toxic fluff. It's your lymphatic system, which is like this invisible system in your body. And it's all the, it's like the drains of your body, right? And so when we drink alcohol, we eat salts, we have carbs and all that, they back up and they swell. I'm using my arms because my arms are indicative of wherever I am. And as soon as you start flushing, you use the fluids to flush, everything starts to come out. So you can lose, 3 pounds in a day. If you got on the scale and you gain 3 pounds, just drink a lot of fluid, have a couple green juices, a smoothie, and lots of water, and it's going to flush right out of your system. And then you can start fresh with a different mindset, a more positive outlook on how you feel and how you look. Your face can wait. You can wake up on Monday morning with big puffy eyes and a big puffy face, and by Tuesday morning you're back to normal, feeling great. Lane, it's hard, especially for type A. Yes, it is. Type A personalities like me. I really like the take care of me attitude. I have finally started to realize that I really need to stop worrying about everyone else. Okay, here's another great story, a miracle story. And this goes back, and this is when I started learning myself, type A personality, myself. If you can't see that already by my how I talk, is I never took a bath because that would mean sitting for 20 minutes. And I don't know how type A personalities sit, but we don't. I don't think last time I sat on my couch. When's the last time you sat on your couch? I mean, I don't sit on my couch. I do sit in front of my computer because then I'm doing something, right? Not proud of this. I'm just being honest. So I started meditating and then taking baths, and that's a whole other conversation we can talk about, meditation and how you get into it and how you surrender and release and make time for yourself. But the bath was one thing I could do. So I turned the bath on and I told the kids, and I would tell my husband at the time, like, Mommy's going to go take a bath. And my husband at the time would be like, well, that's going to take a whole hour. And I'm like, well, it's only a 20-minute bath. I mean, if you can come talk to me if you want. And he's like, well, no, just tell me when you're done. So, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, so you can be of service to me, right? And the kids were like, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to go take a bath. And they were like, oh, this is the beginning of it. So I went in and got in the bath, and I was quiet. Well, Mommy doesn't sit. Mommy doesn't sit on the couch. So if Mommy doesn't sit on the couch, when are the kids going to sit on my lap, right? Mommy's always on the go, as long as she's on the go. So she's in the bathtub, and all of a sudden one of the children comes in, and they put their feet, Mommy, can I put my foot in the tub? I was like, yeah, but just for a second, okay, because this is Mommy time. Foot goes in the tub. The other one comes, well, what are you doing there? And then that one puts their foot in the tub. And then the third one comes in, and the other two are like, shh, Mommy's taking a bath. She's having quiet time. And then they put their foot in the tub. Now, these 3 children, who usually were running me ragged, would sit in the tub and talk to me. And they would talk, and then they would tell each other, shh, shh. They were respecting my quiet time. And it ended up being the 20 minutes of the best spent time with my children. Quiet, calm, respectful, and it became a ritual for a few years. Mom was getting in the tub, and then of course I'd get out and then get in my bath water. But it was about letting go, taking care of myself first. Taking care of myself first. And when you take care of yourself, you're able to take care of others. And I thought, when I started taking the bath, I thought, this is really selfish of me. How selfish of me to take an hour of my night when I have a family to take care of. And then when I started seeing how the children were reacting, I realized how selfish of me was it not to take care of myself. You know what I mean? If you don't take care of yourself, Lane, it's purely selfish. I'm telling you this, and if you wrap your head around that, if you really think about it, when you are overworked, overwrought, tired, exhausted, you're kind of ticked off, resentful, angry, and you are of no use to anyone. But when you are taken care of and you feel nurtured and loved, then you are open to give. And that is unselfish. That is unconditional. When you feel met and taken care of, you're able to give more. And when you're giving is when you're the happiest, right? It's kind of like that feeling. I had a girlfriend who didn't feel nurtured, and she didn't take care of herself. And whenever she was going to take care of herself, the one thing that she the way she did it was by screaming, "I'm hungry." We're like, okay, let's feed you. "I'm tired now." Like, okay, we'll get you to bed. I want a drink. I've had a hard day. And it was like never allowing herself. There was nobody who was going to dispute her hunger. There was no one who was going to dispute her exhaustion. There was no one who was going to dispute her need for a drink. But her emotions were of lack and of not being taken care of. So therefore, she had to grab at it. She had to yell about it and had to be, she was angry about it. She was, I need it now. And so she didn't allow it to be given to her with she was of no use to us. she was a bitter old lady. But when she did nurture and when she was calm, it was a whole different way of communication, and it was very welcoming. It's funny, I just had a conversation with her recently, and she's back in that mode. I think that this conversation needs to go to her. I'm going to remind myself, note to self, give my friend a call and tell her she deserves love. Yeah. Does this all make sense? Is this feeling like it's hitting home? Are there parts of this that, well, I mean, I hear it anyway, but I know that we all do it. And, I wanted to talk about, I know we're getting close to the end, but I wanted to talk about some of the components that, things that we can do that are just, and you can write this down, just write a little list, okay? A little note to yourself, because these are non-food issues that we're talking about. Things that we can do in order to lose weight, get the body we want, get the life we want, get the finances we want, get everything we want, the best life ever. These are components that we can use every single day. The first one is very simple. Choose happiness. Okay? You wake up in the morning. I have this little note. I'm going to show it to you. Little note right here. You see that? I am in charge. Okay, is that backwards? I am in charge of how I feel today, and I am choosing happiness. So when you wake up in the morning and you stub your toe, and you go to the bathroom and the toilet overflows, and then you go to blend your smoothie or make your coffee and the machine doesn't work, where do you go with that? You're like, oh, it's going to be a crappy day. Okay, whoa, right? Stop talking. What if you just laughed at it? What if you just go, Stupid toe, toilet, coffee machine. What if you just chose happiness instead? There's this great story, and if you've heard it before, please forgive me. But I was in this spin cycle of my own negativity, which, just telling you right now, the best teachers are the ones who are tortured souls. And I'm sitting at dinner with this woman, and it was a group of people, and somehow I ended up next to this 80-year-old woman. She was 88, actually. And she just had such a beautiful spirit about her, and the way she communicated, the way she sat, the way she talked, everything she did and said was just so lovely. And I finally said, I started talking to her about her stuff, and she says, well, my husband died, 5 years ago, and we were married 55 years or something ridiculous like that. And she goes, and I learned a lot because he was very spiritual, and I didn't really pay attention. I used to think he was a little wacky, but I loved him. And she says, and something happened. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, when I was 11 years old, my mother, I watched my mother blow up in a propane accident right before my eyes. My mother, whoa, right? I'm sitting there going, whoa. And she says, and then my father remarried another woman, and they proceeded to have 4 girls. And I was the oldest, and I didn't belong to that woman. But she raised me, and I always felt like I didn't really belong. I didn't feel like she was really my mother, And she says, so I married my husband saying, I'm going to have my own family. I'm going to create my own family. So she married this man. She had 4 children, 4 girls. And she had a beautiful life. But her oldest daughter, in her 20s, I believe, shot herself in the head. I'm sitting there going, geez, like, wow. And then she said, and my husband was electrocuted 5 years ago after 55 years of marriage or something like that. And I'm like, why? I wonder what your karma is, that you would have so much death, kind of violent death, so close to you. And she says, oh, I already know what that is. I go, really? I said, you're clear on what that is? And she says, yeah, to be happy anyway. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, to be happy anyway, no matter what. To love yourself anyway, no matter what. No matter what you look like in the mirror, no matter what you feel like that day, no matter what you say, how you act. Sometimes we do things and we're not proud of them, and we just have to love ourselves anyway. Be happy anyway. Gratitude. I know, gratitude, cafe gratitude, gratitude this, gratitude that. Well, let's really think about what gratitude is and how often that we're fully grateful. I have so much to be grateful for, but I forget. I forget about what I'm grateful for, and I sometimes only remember the things that hurt and are painful. So writing a list of what you're grateful for, being fully grateful for every aspect of your life. And really writing it down. Just writing down, I'm grateful for my blue stove oven that you see over there because it looks really good in this video. I'm grateful that, my hair somewhat isn't frizzing out. Silly things. And then it gets deeper and deeper, and you start writing things out. I'm grateful for my friends in my life. I'm grateful for the love in my life. I'm grateful for the support. I'm grateful for sitting here on this call with you. And it can be short, it can be long, whatever, but anytime you're feeling that the negative voice is taking over, start writing your gratitude list and write down every single thing that you're grateful for. There's nothing small about being grateful for the flower that bloomed in your garden or the whatever, the movie you saw last night. Be grateful for everything, because the more grateful for you are, the more you will receive. It's that mind, body. I am grateful. You want the truth? I got the negative voice all the time about how I look and how I feel. But then I look and I go, I'm grateful that I am beautiful. I'm grateful that I'm lean. I'm grateful that I'm given this body. I'm grateful, even if I don't believe it. I say it anyway, and somehow it works. Some days it doesn't, but some days it you got to keep saying it. You got to keep perpetuating gratitude. And watch how fast your life shifts. And believing in miracles is part of that. And it happens like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. It's pretty quick, within 24 hours. It's interesting. One of the things that's not on this list, but we'll talk about asking for what you want. And I think we'll do another Google Hangout on that, because that's a really powerful thing. Most of us don't know what we want. So the other component is freeing yourself with forgiveness. Forgiveness is a really huge thing. Greg, on choosing happiness, it's much easier to redirect or reframe your negative thoughts before they gain momentum. Yes, absolutely. One trick I've learned is to back up to something general that you can sincerely feel positive about. I am so grateful that I live in this beautiful place. Nice. Or I am so comfortable and cozy in my bed. Nice. Just doing that can make a huge difference. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because I was looking for some gratitude. Once you have reset your attention to something positive, you can start from there. Just don't go to anything specific that you can't feel genuine about. That's very good advice. Very good advice. Good about. It has been said that gratitude is one shortcut to bliss. So right. Okay. So taking that, what Greg just said, here's the negative and here's the positive. Focusing your energy here quiets this voice. Okay? Turning your head to listen to this voice quiets this voice. Turning your head to this voice to listen quiets this voice. You see? Focus on the positive. Thanks, Greg. That's absolutely correct. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a really huge component. And it's not just about forgiving others, it's about forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for the thoughts, the negative thoughts is one great thing. What's really nice about forgiveness is nobody really needs to know except you. So it's and it helps to say it, but it helps to write it down as well. And it doesn't have to be anything big, and it doesn't have to be anything small. It can be it can be as big as I forgive my father for not, making me feel safe. That's huge. And then it can be, I forgive the gardener for not trimming my trees properly. Who needs to know about that? Well, me and the gardener, and my God, my universe, whatever it is for you. Who needs to know about me and my dad? Well, me and my dad and my God or my universe. I'd like them to know. Who else needs to know? There might be a few other people that need to know that I forgive my dad, so that they can't hold that over me, even when I've let go. Forgiveness is a form of releasing control, because as long as we can be angry and that we have control, we see. But when we forgive, we're not triggered anymore. We're not. We surrender. We surrender to trust. Okay. This is my favorite one. Changing perception. If you change your perception, change the way you look at life, and your life will change, right? So most of the perceptions we have as adults were given to us as children. Let's talk about our body image for a second. Changing your perception. My perception of the perfect body, the ideal body, was the image that my stepmother gave me, which was a model. Tall, skinny model, beautiful. So anything less than, Giselle is unacceptable. Not that she has that body. She was just passing on her perception from her mother. And then she was giving it to me. And so no matter what, that perception of perfection or what is ideal is warped. So my perception needs to change. My perception needs to think that the ideal body is the body I was given and the body that I live in today. And what that does is frees me from judgment. allows me to be comfortable in the body I was given, right? Yeah. Perception on finances. Like, I always ask the question, how much is enough money? And if you ask that question to your friends, they'll all give you a different story, and they'll all give you a different answer. I mean, some people will say, hey, as long as I own my house, I'm good. You know, how much is enough money? Well, I need $5 million in the bank and own my own cars and my house. Okay, it's a different perception. And then there's, of course, oh, I couldn't live off of $5 million. I need $20 million in the bank. I need a yacht. I need a house in 4 different countries and an income of, you know, $800,000 a year in order to be happy. Perception. Other people say, hey, I'm just happy if I can pay my bills and my rent and have some money to go out on the weekends. Perception. Change your perception. What do you really need? What do you really want? Like I said, that's a whole other conversation. What do you really want? And how does money play into that? Get real with your perception. Is it your perception? I grew up in a pretty affluent house, and so it wasn't so that it was so affluent. It's just that they were so wrapped around money. And so I felt that without it, I wasn't going to be happy. And, you know, that, of course, gives you drive and makes you strive for a certain kind of financial backing. And then you get to that place like, is that enough? And is that enough? And is that enough? And you're like, but am I happy along the way? And you got to check in with yourself. How much is enough? Change your perception. Same thing about your life on a whole level. So you've got body, you've got your finances, you've got your happiness. What is happiness? Is happiness jumping and skipping every day, laughing, and never having any grief or pain? I think that's pretty unrealistic. You know, you look at someone, you're like, God, they seem really happy. I remember when I was married, I would walk into the stores, you know, whatever, go to the grocery store, the bank, whatever, and people go like, you're always happy. And I thought, oh, well, I'm just pretty much in a good mood most of the time. I mean, it's a choice, right? And then I thought, if they only knew what was going on for me, you know. I remember one person, it was really powerful. It was a man, actually. He walked up to me, he goes, you look like a woman who's well-loved. And I thought, not tremendously happy in my marriage. I don't feel like I have any attention or affection and all that, but boy, his perception of happiness and his perception of love was that I looked good and I had a smile on my face. What is happiness? Is happiness a place you go to? Is happiness a way of life? What is your perception of happiness? I think happiness is a series of moments strung together, and you get to create and choose it each day. Okay? I'm happy right now talking to you guys. I'm happy that you're listening. I'm happy that you know, I try to find joy in everything I do. There's some times when I go, oh, you know, I listen to my daughter and she says, I have to go work out. Well, I don't want to go work out. And then she comes back and she's like, I'm happy I worked out. You see, it's a decision. You choose happiness. It's kind of a happiness thing. It's like choosing to make each moment count. That's where happiness is for me. That's my perception. What does it look like for you? Which leads me to another component, indulging in desire. You know, desire is way underrated. I think it was Carl Jung and Nietzsche who had real issues with desire. Desire is a forbidden fruit. Desire is a sensual idea, something outside of yourself that you desire that's bigger than life, right? Well, why can't we have it? Why can't we indulge in desire? Why can't we indulge in decadence and desire? Whether that's extravagance in finances, allowing yourself, taking a bath, whether it's pleasures of physical pleasures, whether it's choosing to not work for a while, whatever your desires are, whatever seems decadent and unattainable is actually what you deserve. Because the only reason we don't allow ourselves desires because it seems so out of reach and something that's forbidden fruit. And I say that it becomes fruit that we can eat every day. Change your perception. First, ask yourself, what is your perception? Then change it to work for you. And the last one is kind of summing up, releasing pain, worry, fear, and anxiety. That's part of control. That's part of surrender. That is definitely a huge component. And all these things that we talked about lead up to that final piece. Relinquishing fear. Fear is control. Fear is the opposite of love and trust and all those one things. Fear is right here. Anxiety, worry, stress, all that lives right here in negative thoughts. All of it. Whenever you hear something that doesn't serve you and your happiness and your desires and doesn't live up to the perception of what you want for yourself, it's coming from a fear-based, worry, stress, anxiety-ridden thought process. Focus your attention over here on, what did Greg say, that cozy bed and where he lives? Beautiful. Focus on that simple, big, and this voice goes away. I always say, you can gently let it fall away, or you can whack it off your shoulder. You can do whatever you want, but just remember, wherever your mind goes, your body follows. So if you are struggling with weight, if you are struggling with the body that you're not comfortable in, stop putting your attention towards it. Start surrendering the control. Start laughing more. Start playing more. Start enjoying life. Start living the life you always wanted, with or without the weight loss, with or without the right pair of jeans or Giselle's perfect body, with or without. Enjoy your life and your happiness. Watch how your body follows. You will choose things differently because bad food doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make you feel good. I mean, you all said it. Good food makes you feel good. Good food makes you happy. Good food makes you feel light and airy. So you're going to automatically go towards happiness. And as you go towards happiness, your little caboose will follow. Thanks everyone for coming onto this Google Hangout. I hope you had fun. I certainly enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for listening. And we're going to have another one in a couple weeks, and I hope you'll join. And if there's anything you would like to talk about, I think I'd like to focus on what you want. That's a good one. That's a tough one for all of us, but it's a good one. All right. Mwah. Talk to you soon.